Hi guys, we're going to have another reading from the Great Dinosaur Mystery in the Bible. We have 2 more of these, and then we'll be moving on to some other books and resources that will just study dinosaurs specifically, like different kinds of dinosaurs. Alright, so we're going to talk about dinosaurs in the Lost Paradise and if they ate meat before the flood. When did animals begin to kill and eat other animals? And were dinosaurs ever really as ferocious as they are shown in books and films? Okay, so dinosaurs in the Lost Paradise. It is interesting to think about the original world God created. Things have changed so much since then. Everything was perfect, but then came sin. God warned Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. They were told that if they disobeyed, something very bad would happen, and it did. Adam's disobedience was deliberate and wrong. To this day, all people continue to disobey God in many different ways. Sin ruined the perfect beauty of God's creation and brought trouble, death, suffering, and other bad things into all of man's kingdom. This is stated in Genesis 3:16 through 24, Romans 5:12, and Romans 8:20 through 22, 1 Corinthians 15:21 through 22. Thorns and thistles, disease-producing germs, and blood-sucking parasites, fighting and killing, all developed sometime after the first sin. Did animals eat meat before the flood? Today, there are many animals that kill other animals for food. Exactly when this habit first began is a mystery, but it could not have started until sometime after man's first sin. In the original creation, all the animals ate plants, not meat, stated in Genesis 1:30. There was no killing before the fall, when Adam and Eve rebelled against God in the Garden of Eden. It was not until sometime after sin's beginning that animals began to eat other animals. Did this habit begin right after man's first sin? Probably not. It is certainly not likely that animals instantly changed into the way they are today. These habits probably developed naturally in man's sinful world over hundreds and thousands of years, and they may not have become common until sometime after the flood. Before the flood, there is no indication. Make sure you can see the pictures. Before the flood, there is no indication in the Bible that any of the animals ate meat or were violent and vicious. It is the people that God says were so terrible and violent. By the time of the flood, most animals must have been able to live on plant foods alone. Every basic kind of land animal and bird in the world was on the ark. They ate only plants during the voyage, for God told Noah to load the ship with every kind of food the animals would need. That was stated in Genesis 6:21. These foods must have been the same things God assigned to the animals in the beginning. Quote, every green plant. There is no hint that God changed this command between the time of creation and the flood. Before the flood, there may have been no need for animals to kill each other for food. And here's a picture of Parasaurolophus. It's a hadrosaur, and many different types of these duck-billed dinosaurs have been found. The fossil stomach of one shows the last meal it ate during or just before the flood, before being killed and buried. It ate fruits, seeds, pine needles, and pine cones. Let's see this duck-billed dinosaur. So they found some fossilized stomachs, and they were able to dissect it and find exactly what food they ate. So just keep it on the picture and you guys can just listen. When did animals begin to kill and eat other animals? After the flood, God gave people official permission to kill animals for food and eat them. Man could now eat everything green, plants, and animals. This was stated in Genesis 9, 2, and 3. This means that people from Noah's family could have eaten dinosaurs if they tasted good. But God told the animals, including dinosaurs, that they should not kill people. If they did, they would have to answer to God for it. Genesis 9:5b. At the same time, the Bible does not say that animals were forbidden to kill other animals for food in this new world. God does not repeat his command here or later that animals are to eat plants. So it could be that the end of the flood marks the time when land animals and birds began to develop the habit of killing for food. Or it might just be the time when these habits started to become more common. In the world before the flood, some animals must have died from natural causes. For example, some must have been killed by injuries like falls from trees. Other animals would surely find these dead bodies and smell them. Could it be that some animals also decided to taste the bodies and even eat them? Actually, this would have been a good thing. It would be best to have a quick way to get rid of dead, smelly bodies in the world after the fall. Today, it is important for animals to do this. So, it could be that animals ate dead animals once in a while before the flood, but that few, if any, animals killed for food until sometime after the flood. This seems to make sense, since the fossils show the pre-flood world had plenty of plants to eat. The animals probably did not need to kill to live. Meat eating would have been encouraged by the flood. The flood was the world's greatest disaster. It destroyed all the world's huge, lush forest of plant life. Until new forests grew, there was much less food. The flood would have left a certain number of decaying animal bodies unburied on the earth's surface. The bodies would have been tempting meals for hungry, sharp-toothed animals. It must have been much harder to survive in the world after the flood. Since food was no longer so abundant, some animals were forced to compete. This would cause quarrels and fights, even among animals in the same family. Plants growing in the soils of the destroyed earth would have had less protein and vitamins than before, especially in certain areas of the world. With an increasing taste for meat, hunger could have driven some animals to kill for food, instead of waiting for dead bodies to turn up. Animals needed to feed their hungry families. Hunger and starvation can make some creatures desperate and vicious. What an awful thing sin did to God's wonderful, peaceful creation. The terrible effects of sinful disobedience. Ever since Adam and Eve, man's whole environment has forced him to see just how serious sin is. Adam's disobedience ultimately changed all of his kingdom for the worse. The effects of sin are everywhere. As the Apostle Paul said, the whole creation has been groaning in pain right up to the present time. Were the dinosaurs ever really as ferocious as they are shown in books and films? There is another mystery about dinosaurs to be explored. Today, many books and movies show dinosaurs as terrible, ferocious beasts, but since there are only fossils to study today, there is no way to know for sure how dinosaurs behaved. Most dinosaurs had small brains in comparison to the size of their bodies. We'll talk a bit more about this, I think. The 29-foot-long Stegosaurus had a brain the size of a walnut. Even the great Apatosaurus brain was not much larger than a kitten's. If a huge Brachiosaurus could be shrunk to the size of a human, its brain would be 10,000 times smaller than man's. This does not necessarily mean these dinosaurs were stupid as animals go, but they were surely no match for man's brain. Many of the dinosaurs were quite small. The Saltopus was really tiny, no bigger than a house cat. Most of the the dinosaurs killed by the flood were less than 15 feet long, not including their tails, which made them more than twice as long. In museums, most people never see the small dinosaurs because the jumbo-sized ones are so much more impressive. And of course, all young dinosaurs were small. If they were born from eggs, they were very little. No one knows for sure if all dinosaurs laid eggs, but they may have. The eggs that have been found are never very big. The larger they are, the stronger and thicker the shell has to be. This made it harder for the baby dinosaurs to get out. Eggs from medium-sized dinosaurs are never much bigger than a turkey's egg. No one has found an egg from a great Brachiosaurus or Apatosaurus, but eggs were discovered from the 39-foot Hypsilosaurus. This dinosaur's shape was somewhat like the Apatosaurus. Its biggest egg was only 12 inches long. It probably took the big dinosaurs a very long lifetime to reach great size. Perhaps like the people before the flood, dinosaurs also had long lives. One man, Methuselah, lived 969 years in those days of better health and environment. Adam and Eve were originally created with perfect hearts and eyes, perfect hearing and health, perfect bodies in every way, and so were the animals. Dinosaurs were not the only animals that grew very large. The fossils show there once were giant kangaroos, giant deer, giant birds, giant dragonflies, giant bears, and bison. There were even giant beavers, 8 feet long. Even many plants grew much larger in ancient times. Perhaps the people were bigger too. No one knows for sure, but it seems possible. Okay, that's it for our reading. Okay, guys, I thought it'd be fun for homework to leave a comment under the YouTube video of this week's homework and tell me your favorite record holder that we measured out. So I'll label them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're just going to get a piece of paper and pen right now, and you're just going to write down your top 2 or 3 as I go through them. And I will make copies of them, cut them out, and so you can paste them in your journal, your science journal, okay? So I will go through this twice, so if you want to just look through and then do a vote the second time, you can do that. So number 1, the largest flying reptile, the Quetzalcoatlus. Number 2, the largest land creature, which is the Argentinosaurus. Number 3, the T-Rex. Number 4, the largest invertebrate, Arthropleura. Number 5, the largest crocodile, Sacrosuchus. Number 6, the largest predator. Remember, he has a huge spine, so he's called Spinosaurus. Number 7, the largest fish, which is Megalodon. And number 8, the largest snake, Titanoboa. So I'll go over these numbers again. You can vote, put in the comments with your initials and the number votes of the animals that you want me to print out for you. Number 1, the largest flying reptile. Number 2, the largest land creature. Number 3, T-Rex. Number 4, invertebrate. 5, the largest crocodile. Number 6, the largest land predator. Number 7, the largest fish. And last but not least, the largest snake, Titanoboa. So please vote in the comments, and I will print these up and get them to you in class. Okay, so the second thing I want you guys to do for homework is I want you to pick a dinosaur that you're really interested in, and I want you to tell me what classification they fall under. So remember, we studied the hip structure, and that tells us how to classify either the Ornithischians or the Saurischians. Saurischians, the lizard hip, Ornithischians, the bird hip. And underneath these, there's a couple other subgroups. And I want you to kind of pick a dinosaur that you're just super interested in and try to find out, if you can, try to do some research and tell me what group they belong in, either the ornithischians or the saurischians. And you can tell me the subgroups too if you want to, but you don't have to get too detailed. So look in your journal, look at the details about these dinosaurs, and just go ahead and research, pick a dinosaur that you really like and see what subgroup they are. And go ahead and you can write that in your journal, or you can just tell me when you guys see me in next class. Okay?